Today, you will hear the story of a warrior who walked alone into the face of countless enemies. He stood before the impossible, but stopping was never an option because this war was not his own. He was sent by his sister's command to take revenge for their father's blood. The film opens with a sacred graveyard, but not just any graveyard. This is a resting place only for warriors, not ordinary men, but heroes who gave their lives in battle. Each grave stands tall, marked by the sword they once wielded. To guard this place, a single man is posted. His name is Mo Yang, a warrior, a legend, feared by enemies, honored by kings. Suddenly, the princess of the kingdom, Yen Yen, arrives. She brings with her a command from the king. A great war is coming, and the kingdom needs its finest fighter. She tells Mo Yang, "You must fight for the crown, for our people." Why him? Because Yen grew up with Mo Yang. He trained her, protected her. To her, he is more than a guard. He is family. And now, she trusts no one but him to lead this war. As the battle begins, the enemy proves too strong. Within moments, the king is struck by an arrow straight through the heart, bleeding and broken. He knows his time is short. With trembling hands, he calls Mo Yang close. He whispers, "From this moment on, the kingdom is yours. Protect it. Destroy the enemies. No mercy." But this decision brings outrage. The king's nephew, Samedi, burns with jealousy. Mo Yang is not royal blood, so why should he rule? Still, the king ignores their anger. He leans in one last time and tells Mo Yang, "The most dangerous enemy is the one who hides behind friendship. Never drop your guard." Hearing this, Mo Yang wastes no time. He leaves immediately for the battlefield. Back at the palace, Yen kneels beside her wounded father. Tears fall from her eyes, but the king comforts her, telling her to stay strong, because soon she will have to lead. But Yen refuses. She doesn't want the crown. She just wants her father to live, to be by her side, always. On the front lines, Mo Yang fights like a storm, using every technique his master ever taught him. Every move is sharp, swift, deadly. He even draws the finest sword, gifted by his old mentor, a blade meant only for final wars. Meanwhile, Samedi confronts the king. He demands an answer. Why would you give power to an outsider? But the king remains calm. You still don't understand who Mo Yang truly is, or what he's capable of. Furious, Samedi snaps. He grabs the king by the throat and kills him with his bare hands. Yen watches this horror unfold, her heart shattered. Days pass. The kingdom mourns. Prayers rise for the fallen king. Then, a public announcement is made. General Antankao declares, "From this moment forward, Mo Yang shall lead the kingdom." Samedi and his allies immediately protest. "This can't happen," they shout. "He's not even royal." But Yen steps forward, her voice fierce and cold. "Anyone who disobeys this order will lose their head." Her words silence the crowd. Even Samedi lowers his eyes. They don't agree, but they no longer have a choice. Mo Yang accepts the crown, but with hesitation. He knows not everyone will accept him. Many will think he's unworthy, an outsider, a traitor, but Yen understands his doubts. She speaks again. Anyone who questions Mo Yang's command will be declared an enemy of the throne. And with that, even the strongest warriors bow. Samedi and his friends have no choice but to kneel. And so, Mo Yang takes charge of the kingdom. But deep within the shadows, enemies begin to rise. But while all this is happening, Samedi and his allies are plotting. They want to remove Yen from power, and their first step, spread a rumor. No woman should ever sit on the throne. They know, to win, they must break her first. Meanwhile, Mo Yang realizes something important. Yen may be queen, but she's not yet ready to rule. She lacks skill and strength. So he gently tells her, "You need to train with me until the day you become a true warrior queen." Yen agrees. The next morning, her training begins. It's not easy. She's never lifted a sword before. Her arms tremble, her feet stumble, but she refuses to give up. Again and again, she rises, because in her heart, she remembers her father's words. She has to be strong. She has to be worthy. Days pass. Mo Yang teaches her everything: how to fight with a sword, how to shoot with a bow, how to survive a war. Slowly, Yen begins to change. She becomes faster, sharper, stronger. Her hands now hold power, but what they don't know is that Samedi is watching them, planning something dark. One afternoon, we see him meeting with his allies. He has a plan: kidnap Yen, and then blame everything on Moyang. If we do this, he says, people will lose trust in him. If he can't even protect the queen, how can he protect the kingdom? That very afternoon, while Yen is washing her horse near the river, Samidi's men strike. They rush at her, weapons drawn. But Yen is no longer weak. She jumps on her horse and fights back. One by one, she knocks them down. Her training pays off. But she's outnumbered, and one arrow pierces her back. She falls, bleeding, crawling. She disappears into the forest, and that's when a mysterious young man sees her. His name is Swan, a quiet tribal hunter of the jungle. He notices the attackers and quickly sets off the traps he had prepared. One by one, Samidi's men fall into the jungle nets. Swan lifts the unconscious girl and carries her back to his hut. He treats her wounds, wraps the arrow injury, cleans her blood. When Yen wakes up, she's confused. This isn't the palace, this isn't war, just a small jungle hut, and a stranger sitting beside her. Swan calmly explains everything, how he found her, how he treated her. Yen sits up thinking she's fine. "I need to go," she says, but Swan warns her, "You're not ready." She ignores him, steps out of the hut, and collapses again. Her body gives out. Swan catches her and starts treatment again, day after day. He cleans her wounds, changes the bandages. Slowly, her body heals, but Yen doesn't trust him. Not yet. He's a stranger. This place is wild. Still, she has no other choice, so she agrees to stay. Days pass, then weeks, and as her wounds fade, something unexpected grows. She begins to feel something for Swan, a warmth, a calm she never knew. Yen, born in gold and marble, now finds peace in a hut of mud and leaves. She'd never lived like this before, and it awakens something inside her. But that feeling doesn't last, because deep inside, she knows her duty. She must fulfill her father's wish. She must complete his dream. And love has no place in that path. So Yen says nothing, and her heart grows quiet once again. Meanwhile, after days of searching, Moyang ventures deep into the jungle. He finds something, Yen's sword lying in the dirt. Far away in the heart of the forest, Swan wakes up one morning and takes Yen to a special place, a tall bamboo and wood tower he built himself. "This is my favorite place," he says. "From here, you can see the entire jungle." Yen looks out and it takes her breath away. The view, the silence, the little bird's nest near the roof. It all calms her. And there, inside that wooden tower, she opens her heart. She tells Swan everything, her past, her pain, her dream of becoming a ruler. Swan listens quietly, then gently tells her, "It's time to go back." Yen nods. Tomorrow morning, she will return home. But that night, neither of them can sleep. They've grown close, shared laughter, danger, and silence. And tomorrow, they will part ways. Before dawn, Yen looks around the place one last time and sleeps beside Swan. In peace, morning comes. Swan brings a horse and they begin the journey back. But halfway through the forest, Moyang and his men appear. He's shocked to see Swan, then walks forward and thanks him. "You saved my sister," he says. "In this wild jungle, you protected her." They ride on, but suddenly a soldier rushes toward them. A message. The kingdom is under attack. An enemy army has invaded. Without wasting a second, Moyang and Yen rush back. But once there, they receive devastating news. Samidi and his allies refuse to fight. They say, "Unless Samidi is crowned king, we will not join this war." Now Yen and Moyang have no choice. They go to battle with only 2,000 soldiers. Their enemy, 10,000 strong. Moyang leads bravely. Yen fights beside him, but they both realize they can't win this head-on. So Yen makes a bold move. She breaks away from the battlefield and runs into the jungle. The enemy chases her. They think she's fleeing, but they're wrong. It's a trap. Hidden among the trees, Yen's secret warriors wait, and the moment the enemy enters, they strike. One by one, the invaders fall. Their leader is captured, but Yen doesn't kill him. She spares his life, something that deeply shames him. He begs her to end it, but she refuses. He leaves, wounded in pride, but alive. Then Yen turns to Samidi and his men and banishes them. "There's no place in this kingdom," she says, "for those who won't protect it." And for the first time, The people of the kingdom accept Yen as their true ruler. She is no longer just a daughter of a king, she is a queen, and she is ready. But when night falls, she can't stop thinking about Swan, the boy from the jungle who showed her a different world. Her heart aches. Just then, Moyang comes to her and tells her the truth. Swan, he was one of the 10 new moon warriors, one of the few who survived and disappeared into the wild. Yen says nothing. She doesn't feel anger, only sorrow. That out of them all, only Swan survived. And then, the time comes. Yen must take her royal oath. The entire kingdom gathers. Moyang stands beside her. But what she says next leaves everyone stunned. "I am not your king," she declares. From this day forward, Moyang will lead this kingdom. Gasps echo through the hall, but Moyang bows his head. He cannot refuse, because these are his sister's final words. And a true king must obey. The next morning, Yen tells Moyang she's leaving the kingdom, heading into the jungle where Swan lives, because that's what her heart truly wants. She loves Swan. Moyang is shocked. He warns her, "You'll only face more danger there. The jungle is unknown, and it's my homeland. Leaving now is a huge mistake." But Yen doesn't listen. She mounts her horse and rides toward the jungle. Finally, she reaches the place where Swan waits. There, she sees Swan trying to fly a gas balloon, his dream soaring into the sky. Yen quickly helps him stabilize it, and together they share a beautiful moment. She tells him, "I want to live my whole life like this, with you, because I love you." That moment becomes very special for both of them. At dusk, they land the balloon back in the jungle and spend the whole night there. Meanwhile, Samedi continues his rebellion. He visits a dangerous source and acquires a deadly poison, one that kills swiftly and, worse, has no cure. At the same time, Moyang learns for the first time that Samedi and his followers have attacked the kingdom. His army commander advises him to strengthen defenses because every citizen is now in danger. But Moyang's worry isn't just the people. His sister is still missing, lost in the jungle. He wastes no time. Mounting his horse, he rides into the forest. There, he spots a sword, the weapon of one of the New Moon warriors. Since Swan is part of that group, he can sense when someone picks up the sword. Sensing Moyang's presence, Swan rushes to meet him. Moyang immediately attacks, testing if Swan is really one of those famous warriors. But to his surprise, Swan fights fiercely and skillfully. Moyang is stunned and finally accepts him. He knows Swan will protect his sister well, and confirms he really belongs to the New Moon warriors. Moyang shares Samedi's evil plans and asks Swan to help fight for the kingdom. Swan listens carefully. He understands he has a duty, not only as a skilled warrior, but as a protector of the kingdom. He vows, if the time comes, he will fight for their land. Moyang then begins his journey back to the kingdom. When he arrives, evening falls. He notices soldiers approaching, but these aren't his allies. They are Samedi's men. Moyang is confused until Samedi throws a severed human head at him. It's the head of Moyang's own commander. Moyang realizes their fortress has fallen. Samedi's army may be small, but they've poisoned their arrows, making it deadly easy to kill their enemies. Moyang can't stay silent. He immediately attacks. Some of his soldiers survive and carry him to safety, but Samedi doesn't stop there. He launches an assault on Swan and Yen deep in the jungle. Even though both of them fought bravely, there was a soldier who carried an arrow coated with poison. That arrow struck Swan directly. Yen was terrified when she saw this, but Swan quickly reassured her. "There's no need to be afraid. You must return to the kingdom now and help your brother." But Yen didn't want to leave Swan alone there. Swan insisted again. "I can treat this poison myself, but if you don't go back now, you won't be able to save your brother." Hearing this, Yen finally agreed, and she returned to the kingdom. The next morning, Moyang went alone to fight Samedi's soldiers because he had no other choice. All his soldiers had died in battle, but even though he was alone against thousands of enemies, he fought with the heart of a king leading his army. Many arrows pierced his body during the fight, yet he never gave up. His spirit never faltered. Despite his wounds, he kept fighting. At one point, Moyang challenged Samedi to fight him one-on-one. Samedi knew very well that Moyang was a far better soldier, and he couldn't defeat him in direct combat, so he refused and sent his soldiers instead to fight. Meanwhile, Yen arrived and confronted Samedi. She asked him why he was doing all this, what he really wanted. Samedi said he wanted to be king. which he already was because he had killed every soldier. He even revealed how he murdered the king, all for the throne. Hearing such harsh truths, Yen lost control. She immediately attacked Samedi. Her fighting style and sword speed were unlike anything before, fast and fierce. But eventually, Samedi knocked her down, thinking he had easily won. However, Yen used the weapon she carried, Dara, and struck Samedi's neck, killing him instantly. With the king dead, every soldier dropped their weapons and surrendered. But Yen couldn't save her grandfather. He had died. Samedi realized the grandfather was gone and that the only person left was Swan. He quickly rode to find him, but when he arrived, he discovered Swan had lied. Although Swan could treat many poisons, he could not cure the poison inside his own body. He had lied to send Yen to her grandfather. Now, it was too late. Her grandfather was dead. Yen was deeply saddened. She had lost everyone, left completely alone. She placed Swan's body inside the gas balloon because that was his dream, his last wish. She honored Swan's final wish, and slowly, the balloon floated high into the sky, carrying him far away. In the end, we see Yen, now much stronger, mentally and emotionally powerful, and she has become the queen of the kingdom. Friends, how did you like this story? Please make sure to comment and let me know. We'll meet again with a new story, a new video. Thank you.